All right. Thanks everybody for the thumbs up. I appreciate that very much because Michelle Reese Johnson is not techno savvy, but with all the help from my background people, I'm able to focus on my presentation and help you help young families if and talk about why it's important. So thank you. Again, my name is Michelle Reese Johnson. I'm Vice President of AmeriState Legal Plan. Been doing estate planning and education for about 26 years now, and AmeriState's been around for 27 years doing this every day, all day long for families across 6 states that we are in. So welcome and thank you for attending. And at the end of this presentation, please fill out some of your questions if you have any, and if not, this will be sent to you on a replay in a couple days so you can review it again. So let's get started. All right. Why estate planning matters for young families. Well, all of us are here on this earth. Most of us want to have families. I would say, so, right now I hear Gen Z's not so interested, but maybe they'll come around. So if you have a young family, whether you're married or whether you're not, you still may have minor children. And this is about a lot of the minor children that people have. Families are made up in different ways now, and some people aren't married. That's fine, but they have kids, and we're here to protect our families and our kids in case something happens to us. That's probably and should be our primary focus, I think, especially if we decide to have children. So let's talk about we're going to focus on the young families and the children. So, and we want to make sure that you're protecting your legacy for your children. And if you don't have the proper documents and guidance in place, it could be a disaster should something happen to you. So let's see, the risks of not having a plan. Well, guardianship, number one risk. If you don't have something set in stone where you choose and who you choose to take care of your children, should something happen to you, whether you become incapacitated and you can't take care of your kids or you pass away, you need to have the proper documents in place so the courts can step in and make sure that those children are going to the people that you want them to go to. Also, if you do not have the proper documents in place and you have certain types of assets, your estate will go through probate when you pass away. Also, it's extremely expensive without the proper documents, and that is money that's taken out of your kids' inheritance to handle settling things on your behalf because you did not have something in place legally that can bypass all the heavy costs that happen when people pass away and they don't have their documents. So it's very, very risky to not set these things up. I recommend, let me tell you a little bit about what I recommend. The minute you think you're going to get married or you're going to have children, start thinking about what are the things that you need to put in place because you want to make sure that child has a chance at life should something happen to you financially and emotionally, and making sure that they're safe and taken care of if you're gone. Most people, I'm going to get to this slide, but I'm on a roll right now. Most people think, okay, well, number one thing I need to do is set up life insurance, right? Yeah, absolutely. If you have a financial advisor or you just talk to your friends, life insurance is really important if you are parents. I'm going to talk about how to set that life insurance up. And the next thing, well, probably the first thing you should think about is, well, we need to get the proper documents in place right away when you have that child to make sure if something happens to you, you've got those in place immediately. So don't wait until they're 13, 14, 50. Do it immediately. It's important. So who needs a living trust? That's what we're here to talk about. Not everybody does, but if you have minor children and you have a young, a young family, you need one. You just need one. And I'm going to talk about why. You might not have a house. You might not have a bunch of bank accounts. You might not have very much right now, but you have your most precious asset, which is your children. The minute they come out of that womb, they're yours, and they need you to have the proper documents in place. So here we go. Parents of minor children or special needs dependents, homeowners, business owners, second marriages with children from prior marriages, if you have assets that possess or trigger probate, or possess assets and trigger probate. You have investment properties, land, you have toys. If you become incapacitated, a living trust is going to be the most important document that you can have to handle all these things that might come up in your life. 4 reasons for estate planning and early parenthood. Number 1, guardianship, right? If you don't have it documented, the courts may choose somebody else to take care of your kids. Financial security, we've talked about that. You've got to make sure that you have the funds, your funds properly set up, that your children can, it could be set up for them that it doesn't go to some minor child. It's going to be handled appropriately by somebody you choose in a trust, living trust document to take care of those minor children's financial stability, because minor children cannot come into money if they're under 18. They have no way to receive that money. So somebody needs to take care of that money for them. And the way around that, and the way to do it, is to have a living trust. It's also very flexible. So a living trust, once you set it up, you can, as your family grows, it grows with you. So it's not expensive to do those changes and things that happen as your children grow. It's just part of maintenance, like you would maintain your car. And also, I would say the biggest reason is peace of mind, right? Life's busy. We don't think about it, and time goes on, and all of a sudden something happens, and then you start thinking about it. It could be too late to set things up, documents up, because you're not capable anymore. So once you set up your trust, you know you've got it in place, and it's going to last you a lifetime with some maintenance, and you're just going to be so just relieved you've done it. That's the biggest thing I hear from people who've waited until they're 80 years old. I'm so glad to get this done. So don't wait till you're 80. Do it when your kids are born and young, and let it grow with you and change with you over time. That's the beauty of it. So estate planning, the benefits, of course, you get to appoint the guardians you want. If you don't appoint the guardians you want, the courts are going to oversee that, and people can come out of the woodwork and say, I'm the aunt, and I want them to come and live with me. And you might be, no, I would never want my kids to live with my sister, because you have deeper knowledge about your sister, right? So that's not, nobody knows. All right. You're going to avoid probate altogether with a living trust. You're going to minimize any taxes that may come about. Now, in a lot of states that are mayor states in, there are no state estate taxes. There is no state inheritance taxes. It has to do with the federal estate tax. Right now, a couple can pass on about $25 million. Most of us don't have that kind of money. But if you do, because you hit it big in the crypto world or whatever, you can really minimize estate taxes up to $25 million. If you're over that, there's some other planning you can do. And also healthcare decisions. While you're alive and you're an adult, a healthcare directive is so important. As we know, the doctors cannot talk to somebody on your behalf if you do not have a healthcare directive in place. And even your wife might not be able to make decisions for you. And you want to make sure that you have decisions that are in writing that you agree with, that you would want carried out, not somebody else who's guessing at what you would want. So make sure you've got your healthcare directives and also your financial power of attorney in place. Those two things are basically, if you're 18, you should have those. If you don't have any kids at all, you should at least have your healthcare directives and your financial powers of attorney, period. So if you as an adult have children who are now young adults, and get them their powers of attorney package as well. Just a little side note. Okay. Ameristate can do that for you, for your children. Okay. So why every family should have an estate plan? It's not for people just with large estates. It's for every family with children, period. That's it. If you own a home, now let's say that you don't have a home yet. You still need an estate plan because you have minor children. And also, with an estate plan, should something happen to you, your affairs are private. If you pass away without an estate plan, a living trust specifically, your affairs become public knowledge. And what I mean by that is it's got to be advertised in the back of the paper or whatever online. If you go through, you can see who's passed away and what's in their estate. So keep your affairs private so the snoops don't get involved in your affairs. Okay, so the best time to begin an estate plan is, like I said, the minute you become an adult, meaning get your powers of attorney done for health and finance. And the minute you get married and have children, or if you just have children, get your estate plan so you can provide for your wife and or your children should you become incapacitated or pass away. If you start a business, that also can go through probate. So be sure that you have an estate plan that can handle the business part of your life. A lot of people have their own businesses now, whether it be corporations, LLCs, or sole proprietorships. Having an estate plan will make sure that that bank account is going to be stuck in probate, or that building that you bought and it's entitled into your business name isn't going to go through probate. So just be sure that if you have any of these types of assets, you purchase a home, you adopt children, you start a business, an estate plan is going to be important for you as well. A little side note here, I want to make sure that you know that when somebody wants to maybe go on a long trip and they don't have guardians in place, that's a little scary, right? So by setting up your living trust within the will document is where your guardianship, who you want to take care of your children, are. And an estate plan consists of a revocable living trust and a pour over will. In the pour over will, it talks about who the guardians will be with the for the children. Now, the guardianship for the children is when you pass away. Okay, when you're both gone, or you pass, or one person, single person, dad passes away. That's when the guardianship comes in. But what about when you want a temporary guardianship? You're alive and you're fine, but you want to put a caretaker in place. When you're on a trip or something's going on, you can do temporary guardianships as well in case you're gone for a while and the child is going to be staying with somebody else. That's important, and we do have some documents that we can get to you for temporary guardianship for those minor children until you come back. And also you want to designate somebody that you know and trust and has your same values and the capacity to take care of your children. So you want to select somebody who has all these values and criteria. And also you want to make sure that you have selected them, and I would make sure that you talk to them first before you choose them as a guardian, and maybe have a backup person as well. All right. So a little bit about doing a trust. If you have minor children, but you don't have any assets yet, let me talk to you about that. A lot of people think, well, we don't have any assets. We just have minor children and we're working hard to pay our bills and put money into savings, but we did get that life insurance policy, so we're set, and we've put our children on as the beneficiaries to that life insurance policy, right? That's not a good idea at all. Don't do that. If you get a life insurance policy and you have bank accounts, get a living trust, because minor children cannot receive those assets. They cannot receive that life insurance policy. They're under 18 years old. There needs to be a vehicle in place like the revocable living trust that is the beneficiary of that life insurance policy. Now, if you're married, you might have your wife or husband first put their name on that. And then below that name, you're going to do the Smith Revocable Living Trust as the backup beneficiary, because if something happens to you and the wife, the trust is there, not the kids' names, the trust. And the trust has the directions to pay that money to the Revocable Living Trust. That's where your successor trustee, who you have chosen in your Revocable Living Trust, will step up and be able to manage that money for those minor children with the specific instructions that you have put in your trust as to what age you want them to get money. And that money will also be held for their health, education, welfare, and well-being from when they're minors to when they turn that specific age that you have designated in your trust for them to receive the whole boat, right? So that's why it's so important. I see this all the time, that young families set up those life insurance policies and they put their minor children on as the beneficiaries. That's a terrible, terrible idea. Don't do it. Take them off. Get yourself a living trust. Put the living trust on as the beneficiary behind the wife or the husband. Or if you're a single dad or mom, put your living trust on as the primary beneficiary. Do the same thing with your bank accounts. There's two ways to go about it. Don't put your kids on the bank accounts with you. Don't put your children on property with you. Make the living trust either the owner of the bank account and the owner of the property, meaning you're the owner, but it's just titled into your trust, or put the living trust as the beneficiary on those bank accounts. Even the IRAs, if you have minor children, don't put your children on as beneficiaries to your 401ks and IRAs. Put your wife or husband first and then list your trust as the backup, because you don't want those children coming into money at 18, do you? I don't think any of us do. So when they turn 18, if you put their names on that, they're going to get it. And nobody has control over it. So just a little tip for you, but that has nothing to do with this slide. But this slide just kind of talks about what we've already been talking about. So when you pick your guardian, let's go back to the guardian. You're gonna have a shared parenting style, emotional connection, so that your kids know this person and are going to be comfortable. And with a living trust, your guardian will be able to financially support them, because a successor trustee will give them money they need to take care of that child every month. And then you want them to be willing to serve. So you want to talk to them about it. Don't let it be a surprise. Ask them first before you put them on as a guardian. And always have a backup guardian. Now, if you have a child who's an adult, you can put that child as an adult as a guardian for that minor children. That's fine. But I always say, have maybe somebody else who's not in college, or having, somebody else as a backup would be helpful as well. So what happens if you don't have a guardian? Well, the courts decide, like we talked about. And yes, you can select anybody to be a guardian as long as they're legally eligible and willing. Do I notify the guardian? Yes. Don't keep it a secret. Let them know. And can you ever change your guardians? Absolutely. That's part of the legal plan, an AmeriState legal plan, and a revocable living trust with that. That's part of the maintenance and the changes. And you can change anything during your lifetime as long as you're alive and competent. You can change your trust. Okay, so why a trust works best? Well, basically, it's like a corporation that you own and control. You don't change anything about your life and how you do things, but there's certain things that you do when once you set up your living trust to make sure those assets are protected and they stay out of the court's hands when it comes to probate and control. So by setting up a living trust, the courts aren't going to be getting involved in your business, and that successor trustee who you choose is going to be the one to handle the settling of your estate and overseeing the monthly or yearly distributions to your children under your terms that you have set up. And so you just want to make sure, and also you want to make sure to keep your affairs private so other people don't snoop around and show up to court saying, well, I was a neighbor and she told me that I was going to inherit part of her, um, her rental property or whatever. So, and nobody's there to argue it with the court. So stay out of the court altogether, and having a revocable living trust is going to do the trick. Okay, so let's do a comparison with the living trust. The parents decide and name both short-term and long-term guardians. Children are placed immediately with the guardians. There's no foster care. It's a very smooth transition. The parents can leave instructions for education, religion, and health care. Let it be known what your wishes are and put it in writing. It's very important. And children's inheritance is protected in the trust and managed with the parents' wishes, which we've been talking about. So we never know when something's going to happen. So the minute you have a child, you're a young family, even like I said, even if you don't have much, a trust is still very, very important for young families. Don't wait until they're grown. Don't wait until something happens, because it could be too late to set this up. Do it now. Make it part of your plan when you're young and you start having children, period. Don't just say, oh, we've got life insurance, we're good. The life insurance will take care of the kids. Well, no, because most people put their minor children on their life insurance policies. Don't do that. I'm stressing that right now. Hopefully that's one thing I want you to take away from this. Don't put children on title with you to assets if they're minor or even if they're adults. Don't do it. Give them your assets through your trust. So I think we've talked about that one already. Let's go on here. So here we go. The living trust. Here's what the living trust looks like with the Mare estate. It's going to be backwards. Sorry, it's kind of funky. It's going to look backwards. Let me go up, 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 up. Here we go. Okay, so this is the living trust. And it's full of all the documents you need as an adult to take care of your children, elect the guardians, get your healthcare directives in place, your financial management and assets power of attorney in place. In case you become incapacitated, you don't have to go to court to get a conservatorship because you already have all your documents right here, all in one place. Okay, so here's some reasons to avoid that nasty word, probate. Okay, it takes a long time, number one. It's 1 to 2 years to get a simple estate through probate. You can't distribute assets that are locked up. So who's going to pay for your kids and all the things that are going on in their lives? Things might have to be canceled. The sports teams, the activities. Nobody can get access to money to take care of your kids if your assets go to probate. So don't let that happen. Be sure to get a trust and set your assets up in the trust. AmeriState will help you with that part as well. You don't want your affairs to be private. Sorry, back up. You don't want your affairs to be public. Keep it private. Set up an estate plan. And also, you don't want heirs and creditors to come out of the woodwork. If it's a public document, if it's public, you pass away, it's public knowledge. The community needs to know what is going to probate. For some reason, that's the way it goes in probate. So don't let other people snoop around and find out what you have. Okay, and it's expensive. Did you know probate is based on the gross value of your estate? I think we have a slide that talks about that. That's after this one. But let's talk about the cost of a living trust, and I'll go back to, I think the next slide is how much it costs to put a simple estate through probate. So with AmeriEstate, let's talk about the cost of a living trust. Okay, AmeriEstate's trusts are around this price, and it's also attorney prepared. So every single client will speak to an attorney, to one of our provider attorneys over the phone. We do not do it yourself here. We work with attorneys that represent the clients and you and make sure that everything is set up properly for you. And also, you want to make sure that it's delivered properly as well. Don't leave it to yourself to do it yourself. I call it doom it yourself. Get the proper legal advice and get it delivered and notarized properly, because I see it all the time with the do-it-yourself estate plans that are out there. The clients get a big book and they don't know what to do with it. You're on your own. So get the help and advice with professionals, and AmeriEstate can help you do that. So yeah, estate plans are a lot of money if you're going to go traditionally and go sit in the big chair at the attorney's office. They charge by the hour. And so by the time they're all done with your estate plan and talking to you and answering all your questions and the visits and the hours and the phone calls and the backups, it's like $3,000 to $6,000. I know it for a fact because one of our employees, when she came to work with us, she got her estate plan done. She was excited about that, but she spent $6,000. And I was like, oh no. So it's true. That's how much they cost. Okay. So we work a little different than going to go to the big leather chair and speak to the attorney. You're going to speak to the attorney on the phone. We're going to get the pre-work done at AmeriEstate so it doesn't cost you $500-$600 an hour, okay, with the attorney. We're going to prep it, and then we're going to get it to the attorney. That's how we can keep the costs down to get you to set this up. Oh, here's the probate calculator. Let's say you have assets of $400,000. Maybe that's just your condo. I don't know condos of $400,000 anymore, but let's just say your house is worth $400,000. But let's say you have a loan on that house. Maybe that loan is $200,000, so you have an equity of $200,000, right? Probate is not based on the equity; it's based on the gross value of the estate. So a $400,000 valued condo is going to cost 6 to 8% just to get it through probate. What's that? $32,000? That could put your kid through college for 1 or 2 years these days, right? But don't let that happen. That's a lot of money. That should go in the pocket of your children, of your family, and it should be protected. And including that, it takes a long time to get anything through probate these days. The courts are backed up. You can't even get an appointment. And the attorney cannot even get to court for at least 6 months. The courts are really backed up. So most people don't set up an estate plan. They don't do anything at all. And therefore, this is a very busy segment of the courts. And you have to wait in line. So everything is kind of frozen. Nobody can get access to your estate. They cannot get access to your bank accounts because they're just in your name and you've passed. Or maybe you've put your child on as a beneficiary, and they can't give. You cannot put money in a minor child's name. You just can't. You have to have it in a trust for the successor trustee to take over and manage that money. It's like As long as they have a death certificate, they can continue supporting that child. So don't let those delays happen. It's a nightmare. So here's in the living trust of AmeriState that I showed you kind of. This is what's included. So you've got everything you need. And also complete notary service in the home. And what's also included in that is when your membership in the legal plan, which is a continuous thing every year if you choose to renew it. But that's going to make sure that you get your updates and changes, trust reviews. If you need an attorney referral for anything that comes up in your life, we can get you in touch with a pre-screened attorney across the United States. It doesn't matter where the issue is. Maybe you have some property in another state that you need to talk to an attorney about. Give us a call. Part of the legal plan, we're going to get you in touch with an attorney in that subject matter. So the legal plan is a really good thing, and that's how we're structured. So we want to make sure that you know that by coming to AmeriState, you're coming to AmeriState legal plan. And it's just not about estate planning, even though that is our main focus. It's about having access to other services through the membership in the legal plan, keeping your estate up to date, having 30-minute consultations with attorneys for free, and 25% discounts off their hourly rate if you need to hire that attorney to take care of something in another state where you have a property or whatever. So a lot of our clients use that and they love it. And they just like to have our 800 line. They can call for questions. They're not going to get billed in the mail, or you're not. So it's a very nice thing to have in your back pocket. So just remember that's how we're structured and how we work. And if you don't want to renew your membership, you don't have to, but we encourage you to because of all the benefits. Every year it's a $150 renewal, but if you don't want to renew it, then just let us know. It's not mandatory, but it's recommended. So just a little bit on this last slide is other things we do at AmeriState. Of course, the living trust is our foundation. That should be your foundation, or your if you're an agent or a client, that is the foundation every adult should have, is an estate plan. A living trust is preferable, especially if you have children, special needs adults. A living trust is a must. Oh, I like that. And also, if somebody becomes incapacitated or you pass away, we have our trust administration department that will be right there standing by your successor trustees and beneficiaries, helping them through the process so that you don't have to go hire a private attorney for $600 or more an hour to settle an estate that you have already set up and all the instructions are in there. We're here to coach and be alongside your successor trustee as they maneuver through the final estate planning. If you have a sole proprietorship and you want to change that into a corporation or an LLC, let us know. If you have rental properties, a good idea is to talk about maybe putting those into an LLC. We can help you prepare those business formations. Let us know, okay? And also, like I said, incapacity planning. This is becoming kind of a busy department for us right now because our population is aging. Our clients are aging. We've been doing this for 27 years. Thank you. I'm coming on 30 now. We're excited about that. But you start seeing changes in the dynamics of family, meaning mom and dad aren't quite healthy anymore. Maybe they've had a stroke, or they're just older now and they don't want to manage their affairs anymore, pay their bills, talk to their financial advisors. Then we could either step up the successor trustee to step into their place, or if they become incapacitated, that gets a little tricky. So you need to definitely call us so we can make sure that everything is in place for somebody to then take over because that person is incapacitated now. So these are our primary services that we provide in AmeriState. And also, of course, the trust and changes and amendments that you need. This is what we do all day long. We love it, and we love our clients. And hopefully, if you're new to us, that you consider getting your estate plan set up with us. We can service the entire states we're in, which is California, Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, and Virginia. So no matter where you live in that state, we can get you an impressive living trust that has all the bells and whistles that are needed for somebody's lifetime. So thank you for joining me today. If you need to schedule a consultation with us, it's free. We'll talk to you like your family and just kind of help you understand the need for it. Or maybe you don't need a trust. If you don't have minor children, maybe you just need a will portfolio that has your powers of attorney for health and finance. Maybe you just need powers of attorney, but most people need at least a will portfolio. So give us a call. We'll kind of help you talk through maybe the assets you have and things like that.